Hello everyone, welcome to Wheel Footy, the most live wheelchair football series on YouTube, probably. This one's a bit of a special episode. There's 3 games this week in the main leagues, 2 of which are of very special importance, one of which I'm about to cover for you in unique style today. It's the VWFL Grand Final between Richmond and St Kilda, and me, as a wheelchair football journalist, I can't show any signs of bias towards one side or another. This is for other reasons, definitely not because I'm partially supporting the Saints here. But anyway, to show some sort of level of bipartisanship, I've got both my... oh god, where's the camera? I'm mirrored in this, so... God, I look like I'm... This is like some sort of brain exam. So I've got both my VFL player badges here. Thank you so much to Gabrielle for providing me with those. I shall... Actually, I'll put them on my scarf. How's about that?
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Alright, let's get it started. I've got the live feed up here, and I'm going to have Bailey in my ears commentating on the show here. Did a fantastic job of the community grand final. Congratulations to Essendon, their first piece of silverware in all the 7 or 8 years they've been involved with all of this association. So congratulations to them. What do I think's going to happen here? I've got no idea. Look, St Kilda were able to just beat out Richmond last time, but that was built on just a ridiculous first quarter performance that almost surprised the Tigers. So I would mark the Tigers as slight favourites, but they have been, I think, shell-shocked in the last couple of weeks. So I reckon this is going to be a thriller from start to finish. Alright, here we go. We're about to start. Sykes and Noble in the ruck. Both sides, of course, with only the one substitute for this game. Looks like Matthew Morris for Richmond and perhaps Michael Milton? No, he's on the ground. It'll be Bryant himself. He's staying on the bench. Great mark to Welsh. He's so strong in the air, not to mention just a really good mover around the ground. Has he got that? He has. First blood to St Kilda. I am obviously partisan here, and I do apologise to the Richmond faithful for that. But I do have a love for the St Kilda Football Club, as I've shown in the past. And there is that's not one of the forwards. That's Noble. There is Smith. Oh, that is just powerful. That is powerful. See, Seb Welsh helping out. He'd be playing that sort of high forward role now. And there is Smith. Excellent. He's found some room out the back. 2 in 2 minutes for Ryan Smith. Couple of gilt-edged chances for Richmond have just gone begging here. And that is quarter time. It is 20-2 in favour of St Kilda. Can he find his forward? No, not quite, unfortunately. I get the feeling Richmond will rebound all the way here, because that's what they did against Collingwood. What did I tell you? Mavruda's goals from a whole round rebound. And you give yourself the best chance if you shoot them straight in front. That's exactly what Ryan Smith's done. He's got 3. Yeah, this is good. Fluid ball movement. That was brilliant to watch. That's what St Kilda seem to be best at in the one match I've seen them play so far, and Smith has nailed it. That's his 4th. Wow, I thought he missed that, but it just came off the hand slightly awkwardly. But Ryan Smith, where is he, is proving the difference here. That's 5 goals, 3 in the last probably 2 minutes. Oh, that's a good grab from Kotsanis there. But he puts that through, of course he does. He's the best forward in the league at the moment. And that's 97. Oh, they're going to get one over the back here. Oh, dear. That's how quickly the game can turn in wheelchair footy, especially if all the roosters are not home to roost. Kotsanis. All right. Looks good. Is good. 98 for Chris Kotsanis. This could be another one out the back for Mavrood as the defence isn't fast enough. And he scored again, and it is almost an even game. 5 points the gap, about 2 minutes left. in this second term. The Tigers are getting absolutely all of it here. I'm just unashamedly rooting for St Kilda at this point here. Found a target, and it is Welsh. Oh, Seb's only just snuck that through. It was a low, flat bullet of a shot. But that's his second. Makes an instant impact after coming on. Oh, he's wheeled himself a long way out, but bloody hell, he's got arm strength. He scored his sixth. That was tight, but he's just about snuck that in from almost point blank. 3 for Welsh. If you're Richmond, though, I don't think you mind this, because Welsh is the more dangerous shot. I say that. I think he's got it. He makes me eat my words, Nicholas Bryant. Margin is now 29. Look at that. Gronner's beautifully running off the back. It's like Brendan Goddard in his prime. I love a good rebounding halfback. And there is Welsh all by his lonesome. You cannot do that. Oh, lovely intercept mark. He's won a 2-on-1 there as Ben Noble. This one's in his toolbox. Yep. 99 goals for Chris Kotsanis. 1 more to go. And that keeps Richmond in with a sniff. 30 points to gap. I can do maths. Seb Welsh has come back into this game and he has changed it. And Smith has bound Welsh in the goal square. A bit of a risky manoeuvre because he risked being tackled. But Welsh has got 6 also. Oh, interesting ball movement there. You can see that they love the underhand throw. That's another thing that's different from the SANFL, which is more, as I've said in the past, a kick and mark sort of deal. He can't find Welsh here, can he? Oh, he's gone for goal himself. I forgot he could do that from that range, and that could be, again, a handy point. Means Richmond need to score 8 goals in a tickle over a quarter. So there's the bell. Needs to convert this, and he has. So Mavrudis with 4. That simplifies the equation. So that is a 37-point margin. Richmond, who have 7 goals for the game to three-quarter time, needs 7 goals to win it in the last. Can they do it? It is possible. Oh, and did I hear Tisha Shavell's retiring? Oh my goodness. Yeah, God, that's she'd be the best female player in the country, maybe excepting that player from Perth whose name I always forget. But here we go. 4th quarter is underway. St Kilda just need a goal, you would say. But Wynerd has started up front. He's come off the bounce. And he's made things very, very interesting. Oh, and Wynerd again. He has missed by a long way. But, oh boy, it would be very, very St Kilda to give up a 37-point lead and lose because a backman has started scoring goals. Yep, keep him out there. That's where you want him if you're St Kilda. Although he has got a booming shot on him. Wow! James Wynerd. He was my best on last week, and oh boy, if he wins it for Richmond here late on, they'll talk about him for years. But oh, there we go. There we go. The skipper's put one over his head, and that's probably sealed the deal. Oh, that was brilliant from Welsh. And there's the skipper again, and there it is. Nick Bryant seals it with his 3rd goal, and St Kilda are going to win a flag. All right, now the mission is to get Kotsanis to 100. This is his chance. I don't know about whether the crowd invasion is going to happen here for his 100th, but I hope he gets it from long range. He's missed. No, Chris, he's got 4 behinds today. He's kicked 3 goals, 4. He's done just about everything he needs to do to get to the doorstep of 100. The Saints have scored 100 in the granny. Now there's 1 more 100 to get. Oh, I don't think it's going to happen. And the party has started on the St Kilda sidelines. There's Smith again. He's got 8. Ryan Smith has almost outscored Richmond by himself. Get it to Chris. Get it to Chris. There he is! It's a 100th goal for Chris Kotsanis. It might be slightly tax deductible for St Kilda because it was a bit of charity in the end, but I'm so glad he's got there. He deserves it for all the work he's done this season. No one deserves to get left on 99. Everything's done that's needed to be done. The only thing left to do is for the siren to go. And Smith on the siren. Just misses, but they don't miss out. St Kilda win a flag. Chris Kotsanis gets 100. We're all winners here today. What a game. What a game. Yeah, let's go over that. I mean, Smith with 8 goals is absolutely fantastic, even though I think he was only on the field for about half the game. Seb Welsh, whenever he wasn't on the field or in the action, the Saints were a worse team. But I think Sean Groenewegen was the pivotal mastermind behind it all, sweeping up off of halfback, taking critical intercept marks near the forward line, providing opportunities. I mean, I haven't got the stats with me, but I'm pretty sure they'll back me up to say that he was the man of the match. And if he gets the medal, it would be very, very deserving, although there's a couple of different guys that you could say that about for the Saints. Practically their entire team. Bryant was very, very good wherever he was placed. Noble was more than good enough in the midfield. Milton had some decent moments down back. And as for Richmond, James Wynett was everywhere. He was their best by a long, long way. Mavrudis had some fantastic moments as well. But look at that. Yep, so that's confirmed. Tisha Shadwell is retiring, and that is a huge loss for the Richmond Footy Club. And Welsh has got the best on-ground medal. I mean, yeah, you can't be mad at that. Like I said, whenever he wasn't on the field, St Kilda were a far worse team. Doesn't want a speech as well, that's hilarious. But yeah, that kid is going to be the future of the St Kilda Football Club in this league for the next 10 or 15 years. He's a star. But no, St Kilda were the better team today, even if Richmond were probably the better team the entire season. You got to figure out how to beat a team like that, and St Kilda did. Of course, the Shadwell injury, I think that's what it was anyway, that really seemed to help St Kilda's cause. But yeah, that was a cracking game to watch, and shout out to the Victorian League. It's been a pleasure to cover the championship this year. Look forward to doing so next year. Hopefully I can get out again to watch another one of your games. That was a really fun experience. Thanks to everyone who I got to interact with over there. That was really, really marvellous and one of the highlights of my year. And I guess, yeah, for the Vic League, stay tuned for my analysis on this game in terms of a more detailed statistical overview next week, or next episode, whenever that comes out. But yeah, on to pre-scripted Gaz, the better version of myself.
So that's the game. I've decided to also do some advanced stats analysis on this one, like I do for the SANFL games, but to make sure I get this video out on time, I'll save the results of that for next week's episode. The second of these big matches was the first SANFL game of the weekend, Norwood versus Central Districts. The equation was pretty simple, with the Redlegs facing an almost but not entirely certain win over West Adelaide next week, and with Centrals facing a Woodville West Torrens side that's very likely to get 120 points and maybe even more. The Dogs needed to win this game to keep their top 2 hopes and thus their ticket to a grand final alive. They got the perfect start, Stuart Webster scoring within seconds of the opening bounce. He had 2 and Centrals had the lead some 7 minutes into the first. But crafty ruck work and pressure in Norwood's midfield helped both of their forwards score late goals to bring the quarter-time gap to 11. Thank you to the possums in the roof there. The differences between the sides became apparent in the second term. Norwood's 4-man defensive rotation of Davis, Neroni and the father-son Simpson duo was able to keep fresher than the 3-man Centrals unit of DeCure, Barker and Banwell, allowing the Redlegs 4 to achieve insane levels of production. Chris Simpson was able to generate 20% more stat feeder points per minute than the league average, and yet stood as an outlier in the negative sense compared to the rest of his defensive brethren. His son had the game of his life after a week off, generating 9 rebounds, 7 tackles and 5 forward zone entries in less than 50% of game time, whilst racking up 6 intercept possessions. Richard Davis went one better in terms of rebounds, while his disposal efficiency of nearly 90% went a long way to helping Norwood become the most efficient side of the round. Short passing was the name of the game for Norwood on the ball, with a few red legs marks playing fast and loose with the minimum 3 metre distance travelled, whilst off the ball they were able to force Centrals into no less than 35 total turnovers. Centrals battled manfully and was still only 44-19 down at the main break. They'd held Jamie Smythe well to only 4 goals, but he was about to explode in the third. The opening 2 minutes saw Smythe nearly double his account, with the former Central spearhead scoring 7 for the term. The contest really was over from there, Central scoring 2 behinds in the last as Norwood romped to a powerful 95-point win. Smythe ended up with 14, although there were, by his own admission, some easier missed chances in there. One he certainly didn't miss was this goal of the year contender on the move with the non-preferred hand, if you don't mind. Rick Leonard was back to his best in the midfield, rucking well and really helping that forward unit shine by taking 9 more marks in the forward zone than last week and assisting 8 goals. His brother also assisting 5, and this was on top of that sterling defensive rotation that amassed 26 rebounds and 7 spoils. For Centrals, this was largely one to forget, as they've simply run out of bodies this season, desperately in need of one more key asset or even further rotational options. Jason Tippins was the best of a still very spirited and determined bunch, helping out in all positions and knocking on the door of 40 touches, and Webster ended up with 4 majors, which was pretty good considering the razor-sharp defence that he was fighting against. West then went up against the mighty Flying Eagles, and although they'd regained Jake Billsborough, they've lost the playing talents of centre Darren Mysko for the season, and taking away a man who's won nearly 60% of his ruck contests when you're facing Adam Roki of all people was a huge blow. West had trained for this last week when they'd shifted Yang Dan into the middle, who withdrew from the ruck contests entirely to force more pressure on the ground ball. It worked then. It didn't work on this day. West didn't win a single hit out all day, and within 90 seconds Trevor Jarrett had scored the Eagles' 3rd goal. West's first major came only after a further 2 Eagles goals, the gap being 32 at the first change. A shift in strategy saw Tony Wade thrust into the midfield, and he did admirably, forcing at least some ineffective hit-outs, but any one of Roki, Spillane, Jarrett or Wayne Hale always seemed to be there to scoop up the ball and carry it away to safety. Dan, now in defence, ground out hard-won battles with the defensive general in Billsborough, who again led all comers in contests won this week, and the side only shipped 3 goals in the second term and scored 1 themselves. But then, as it usually does around about this time of the game, a West side, fatigued from all playing big minutes in the reserves game as well, hit a brick wall. The Eagles, with Spillane, Nitschke and Danielle Hale coming into the side, were able to keep their stars fresh. In fact, look at this play. I want you to see how good this side is if you haven't already. West have just scored a behind. Spillane takes the kick in. He finds Roki. Roki's barely come to a stop and he spies Spillane, who's already on the other side of the damn planet. He takes it. Takes a moment, and the man I've nicknamed Dr. Manhattan has teleported inside the opposition's area, dominates the airways, and sends a picture-perfect pass to Trevor Jarrett, who is as quick forwards as he is backwards. They are just so good to watch. But anyway, Jarrett substitutes himself in the last after scoring a still below average for him 11th goal, and the man who replaces him? Adam Roki. In an experiment that I'm sure will be repeated on Grand Final day, Spillane took the midfield spot and Roki played a high half-forward style role. It was enormous fun to watch Roki scoring from the first play inside the Eagles' forward zone, in which he was on the ground in his new role. This insane finish here, that's his first ever goal. He's fucking incredible. You can see why he won the league best and fairest last year, and if he doesn't win it again this year, I'll eat a whole chili pepper live on camera. Anyway, he scores 3 and arguably gets robbed of a 4th. Nitschke comes on and scores a couple. Steve Edge, who played a solid game, scores 5, and the Eagles won by 103. Incidentally, when the siren blew, there were 3 women on the park in Nitschke, Hale and West defender B. Rutherford, which is absolutely excellent for the league. Every Eagles player did at least as well as you could expect any player to do. As for West, again, they did as well as you could expect under the circumstances. Billsborough was huge in particular, not only in contests, but his rebounding game as well, with 8, along with 5 tackles, 4 spoils, and 22 touches at his highest efficiency all season. Dan also had 8 rebounds, but also 9 forward entries and 40 touches, although a late-game mismatch with Roki didn't help his 6 defensive contest losses. Finally, Hallam Chitty, who's generously provided the SANFL photography images that I've used here in this video, had another excellent game as a very high up forward, laying a bunch of tackles, pressuring the ball carrier, and scoring all bar 1 behind of West's final score of 3 goals 6. Most of his chances were as from far out as you can really shoot, such was the pressure that the Eagles applied down back, but he provided the highlight of the day with this sensational low-down mark for West's 3rd and final goal. My team of the week is, as you'd expect, full of Norwood and Eagles players. The midfield spot again goes to Dr. Manhattan, who pound for pound actually had his best performance of the season this week, his 3 goals bumping up an already maxed out T-Vorp score. The forward line was set and forget, and Jarrett and Smythe pretty easy. The back line was trickier in that I had a raft of options to choose from, all of which came from disabled players, which is absolutely sensational. Of the 4 main performers I looked at, Wayne Hale is the unfortunate one to miss, only just outperformed for mine by Billsborough on the strength of his one-on-one game. He starts in a narrow call over Richard Davis, both players making their 4th team of the week this year, with Nathan Simpson's outrageous performance in not even half a game, earning his 2nd jumper. The bench spots, or the other bench spots anyway, go to the brothers Leonard, easily the next best performances for their respective positions this week. And with 2 sets of games to go, I'm going to show you this, my rolling team of the year. Like my team of the week, it must have 2 starting disabled players and at least be remotely viable points-wise. Adam Roki's already locked in for the rest of the season. I can't see Smythe and Jarrett being forced out, but the rest of the spots are up for grabs. I have Billsborough and Davis, who's actually had more impact per minute by stat feeder points than even Adam Roki, with the skipper being Grant Leonard on the bench alongside the versatile Sean Whitbread and the reliable Chris Simpson. That could all change, though. Guys like Habib, Dan, Webster, Rick Leonard and others are beating down the door. It's all to play for in the last 2 weeks, and I'll see you when they come around. Cool, we're done.